This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
And there he is, locked and loaded and ready to go. By the way, I got to ask, somebody put on the chat board now, did you guys in your last podcast say something about save the picks for the next GM? Is that true?
Not sure.
What do you mean you're not sure? You didn't do the podcast?
I didn't say it.
Okay. So Omar did say it.
Omar saying it. I'm not sure.
That's funny. All right, that's good.
Well,
all right.
Okay.
Let's go through. You have concerns about the running backs in week 1?
No.
Okay.
I don't know that I like Jeff Wilson, but I don't know that it's that much better than the Savon Ahmed we saw in the preseason. I don't know he's that much better than what we saw from Chris Brooks in the preseason. No, I'm not that concerned about it.
Is it, somebody mentioned that Utah runs the outside zone scheme, and that's why Chris Brooks is so comfortable. And I was just talking about this before you came on. Chase Edmonds was a veteran and ran inside zone, and they thought he would be able to make that transition easily, and it was tough for him. And it didn't go well. And it's impressive to watch when you watch Chris Brooks and you watch, his highlights and his vision. It's pretty cool to see how he sees the field and how he sees holes develop as they're, coming, as they're coming to fruition. You know what I'm saying? And he's able to make that cutback, and there goes that hole opening right up that he anticipated. Have you been impressed with that?
You mean, by the way, you meant BYU, right? Because he played.
Sorry, BYU. Utah.
4 years at Cal and 1 year at BYU.
Yeah. I got my. I don't know why I get them mixed
your
up.
Mountain West Conference team.
Yeah.
No, yeah, you know me. I liked him from the start. He looked apart, and then there's nothing that happened in training camp or the preseason that made me change it. And the vision was there. And not only that, when he runs through a hole, that's a big load to bring down. And he breaks tackles, and it takes a lot of time. It takes 2-3 guys to bring him down. So
yeah, how is he as a blocker? Have we seen enough? Is the question.
I'll be honest with you. I haven't noticed. There's one play where he was involved that resulted in a sack, but it was him in combination with, I want to say maybe it was a left guard, and I don't know if it was Lester Cotton or Isaiah Wynn. I think it was Isaiah Wynn, actually, where they kind of let the guy slip inside, resulted in a sack. I don't know if it was Brooks's guy's main responsibility or it was Wynn's. Outside of that, I honestly don't recall enough of him blocking to tell you one way or another.
I was very fearful of the league giving Tyreek at least a game, and it did not happen. Any surprise there? No, right? You didn't expect it, I think.
I was on the lesser half of 50-50. What he brought into the league with him in terms of off-the-field incidents was my only concern. There was no way he would get suspended strictly off of what happened in the offseason. So obviously, that's needless to say, that's good news for the Dolphins.
Huge news.
Huge
news overall. My boy Julian Hill, how big of a piece do you think he'll be on the offense?
I certainly wouldn't expect. Don't pencil him in for 40 catches.
I didn't think that much, but there aren't a lot. The thing is, there aren't a lot of them on the roster. That's why I'm kind of like, you're going to have to play him, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. At some point, right now, in the last 2 days, he's like worked on the side. So he's dealing with something. And to me, he's clearly number 3 on the depth chart. I think Smite's going to get the most playing time, and then Croft's going to get the second most playing time because he's got the experience and he's a better blocker, more proven blocker. And then you have Hill. So I think, I would caution against expecting a whole lot. Whatever you get from him at this point is going to be a bonus as a rookie.
Were you shocked with Alec Engel? It seems like, okay, Wilkins, no deal. All right, let's move and let's take care of other business that we may have on the table. And it looks like they've moved on to other business now. No,
not shocked. Maybe that it happened, but that they would extend him and keep him around. Not in the least. Mike McDaniel loves his fullback. He had Kyle Juszczyk, who's the best in the NFL, in San Francisco. And short of the outside of that, Alec Ingold's up there. There are not that many fullbacks to begin with, but Alec Ingold is close to about as good as there is outside of Juszczyk. So with Mike McDaniel's got a good one in his hands. He loves his fullbacks. Certainly made sense to keep him around.
Your thoughts on the backup center spot and the plan that they have in place. I do kind of like that if Cotton can learn how to snap, his style of play actually suits the center spot pretty damn well, because very few centers you ask to go to the second level or even pull. You know what I mean? Those are like super, Hall of Fame like centers, the ones that can actually do stuff like that. Most of your centers snap and kind of play in that phone booth. And I think he can excel in that phone booth, actually, because it looks like he's that kind of guy. So I'm actually intrigued with that experiment. But your thoughts on the backup center spot right now?
Well, right now, the other part of the equation is that Liam Eichenberg hasn't practiced all week, did not play against Jacksonville, did not play against Houston. Mike McDaniel's indicating he's dealing with some issue that involves a lot of pain. Is he even going to be ready for week one? And then if not, I'm sure the Dolphins are going to make sure that Lester Cotton is ready to play in case something happens to Connor Williams, with always the option of elevating Alama Oluwabe from the practice squad. So I would not be surprised if Eichenberg, his injury issue goes into week one. Wouldn't be surprised one bit if they elevate Alama, as an emergency situation, if there are concerns that Cotton can get the job done at center.
Where are you with Austin Jackson after watching the entire preseason and training camp? He had some ups and downs, but it looks like he's had a half-decent camp. So your thoughts on Jackson manning the right side?
Very, very curious to see how it's going to play out during the course of the regular season. I would say my optimism level for him doing a good job is pretty high.
Wow. Okay. That'd be pretty cool if that ends up happening.
Yep.
Because all of a sudden you found yourself your right tackle and you finally turned the corner. And hey, listen, he didn't have great coaching at the beginning. He was really young. Now you've got pretty good coaching and you're healthy, because last year he also had the injury stuff, which isn't really part of his history. He hasn't been an injury-prone player, but last year the dude had no luck whatsoever with that high ankle sprain. So you could see why he did not have success the first couple of years. There are ingredients there that you can say, okay, bad coaching, you're young, now the injury, all those kind of things. Now maybe you have the foundation. Maybe you can, linemen are weird. Sometimes they turn the corner later on because they have the right environment around them.
Yeah, I'm not real big on going immediately to he had bad coaching. Truth is, his body looks different now than it did before. Maybe the scheme change also helps because this fits him more than the previous scheme. I think those are factors, and the fact that maybe now to switch to the right side maybe helped. Who knows? I think more than anything else, it's a scheme change and the fact that his body looks completely different than it did in his first couple of seasons. But we still have to see if it's going to pan out.
What'd you think of Joe Montana's comments? Talking about Marino being the man. Yes.
And here's the other thing too, is that possibly he's partial to somebody from his own era. I think there's some of it to, some of that involved here as well.
Well, he's from the same era, bro.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. So he's going to be partial to somebody from his same era, and he's not going to say it's me. So he's
he would never do that. That's
correct. So it's a vote for somebody from my era, which indirectly makes me look better. If I say Dan Marino is the number one of all time, then by osmosis, it raises his stature as well.
The only reason why I think he's actually being honest, it's because I have seen more former quarterbacks say, man, I love Dan Marino. That was my favorite guy to watch. And I've seen that over and over again. Brady has said it, and Peyton Manning has said it, and a whole bunch of other quarterbacks have said it, that, while they're coming up watching Marino, that was like their guy. And I almost feel like in the quarterback world, there is that special level of respect for him, even though he didn't win the title and all that other stuff. and whatever, because he didn't have the situation around him. But it just, I think there's a little truth to what he said. I don't know why.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's one guy's opinion. That's fine. I mean, again, I wasn't moved by it one way or another. I mean, that's fine. I'm not. I don't necessarily immediately default to Brady because he's got all the Super Bowl titles, because football is the ultimate team game.
Shit, but dude, you know what?
Or the
As we distance ourselves from the Patriots, Brady starts looking more like the reason than Belichick at times.
Sure, but again, let's not pretend that he didn't have a whole lot of pieces around him. And then I looked up one stat for some. I don't remember how the conversation began, or I was on social media, that Aaron Rodgers' playoff passer rating is higher than Tom Brady's, and it's not close. So, and Aaron Rodgers had one Super Bowl title, and Tom Brady has, what was it, 6, 7?
7. Yeah, 7, 6 with.
And I know passer rating is not everything, but again, it's not just all about the quarterback when you win the Super Bowl. So it's not, to me, it's not Tom Brady has 7 titles, therefore he's the greatest quarterback of all time. End of conversation. I think that's kind of lazy, personally.
Yeah, no, I don't have a problem with somebody saying it. It's so subjective to say who you think is the best quarterback ever. You know what I mean? But there's one thing about Brady that he has with Joe Montana in common. Both of their first championships, if you look at those teams, especially on the offensive side, they weren't nearly as impressive. Then the iterations of those teams after got better. You know what I mean? Because in that first championship for Montana, he had no Rice and Taylor. He only had Dwight Clark. It was Freddie Solomon, and I forgot the other receiver now. I'm brain farting now, but Cooper was his running back, and like Jermaine Wiggins and Troy Brown and Corey Dillon, I think were
Antoine Smith. I think it was a running back.
Antoine Smith, like Brady didn't have anything special either in that first go around. Also, then after he got better, he got better weapons, and not just like Montana got, my God, superior. He got the best receiver of all time. After that, so I kind of give those guys a lot of credit, because too many people are lazy and they brag like, oh, well, they won, they had everything. Okay, but go back and watch their first championship. They weren't nearly as loaded, and they still won it. So give them credit, overall.
Yeah, except this is where I can make the argument. If you remember, the Patriots' first Super Bowl title is 2001. They won because of defense. I mean, they slowed down that Rams offense, and they got a pick 6 on top of everything else. And then Brady just, again, the big thing with Brady, more than anything else, he was just really clutch. He had a game-winning field goal drive. But it's a completely subjective argument. I mean, maybe in 10 years we're going to be back here and talking about Patrick Mahomes is the greatest.
Well, Joe Montana said it in that same argument. He says he thinks that down the line, he thought Mahomes could be the best of all time because of his skill set and what he does, which, by the way, he's completely right. Because look what the guy's done already. He's been to 3 Super Bowls and won 2 of them. And what he did this past year, injured with that ankle, Jesus Christ, dude.
No, and the 2 years, the 2 of his 5 years as a starter where he didn't go to the Super Bowl, he went to the AFC Championship game.
Right. Yes.
They're always there, which is why I suffer from Chiefs fatigue syndrome.
Well, that happens with Yankees, and that happens
with
I
hate it. That's my team. I hate it. It's like, okay, enough already.
Yeah, that happens with I'm sure people are going to get tired of Messi and Inter Miami winning and all that down the line.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's soccer. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, you're Canadian, bro. I got to tell you, that's Canadians love their soccer, bro.
Dude, I wrote about
Jesus.
60-inch story for the Miami News way back when the U.S. was bidding to get a World Cup, to get the 94 World Cup. And I did all my research and all that. And then I watched the World Cup religiously. It's not because I've never been exposed to it. I just don't find it particularly exciting. That's just
I get it. It's understandable. All right. Follow him on Twitter at Poupart NFL. What do you got going on SI?
Well, whole lot of news today when we broke it all down, including the Tyreek Hill situation, including all the roster moves made, the Ingold contract extension, Omar's got to look at the running back situation in light of the Jeff Wilson move to injured reserve. We had a full scouting report on Kelvin Joseph.
Gunner,
Exactly.
flyer. That's what he's here
also
for.
got some slot cornerback ability potential. So
Yeah, I know they tell you that, but he's really here to be a gunner or flyer. If he's out there as a corner, woo,
he's a slot guy, and he would be a depth slot guy.
yeah, you don't want him in the slot, folks. You just want him as a gunner or flyer. That's kind of what they needed. They got a couple of them injured. They needed that. So that was a good move actually by them. They even saved some money in the cap. So I give them a little credit for that one.
Yeah.
I thought that was very shrewd on their part. All right, Poop. Appreciate you. Have a great weekend, brother. Thank you.
Likewise.
You got it. There you go. Alan Poupart. Call my guy, EJD. Eric does an excellent job. 305-433-4843. Custom home construction, major home remodeling, only in Dade and Broward counties. Okay, so for our listeners in Palm Beach or in Seattle or in Argentina, no, only Dade and Broward counties. So make sure you reach out to Eric. And by the way, fully insured also, liability and workers' comp, so you never have to worry if somebody gets injured on your property. As you guys know, I would never have anybody on our platform that isn't fully insured. You know, Cutter's Edge is fully insured. EJD Construction is fully insured. If when I talk to a company and they want to be a part of the platform and I find out they're not fully insured, I'm like, sorry, can't do it. You're going to put my listeners, my family, which that's what you guys are, you're going to put them at risk. You're not insured. Then they can get sued. No way. And then I told them to call somebody that got them sued. Nah. I'm not doing that. So that's why we tell you Eric, because Eric is responsible. Hey, in-house shell construction in-house, folks. That's how they keep the cost down. So call my guy Eric, 305-433-4843.
This is the Big O Show.